Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour. Venezuela's acting president Delcy Rodriguez will hold talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi and External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. Energy cooperation high on agenda. In a setback for Trump in Congress, US House of Representatives passes resolution to block him from continuing Iran war. 4 Republicans join Democrats to back the measure. Israel and Lebanon agree to implement ceasefire and to create pilot zones totally controlled by Lebanese army. Next round of talks scheduled for later this month. First World Yogasana Sports Championship 2026 opens today in Ahmedabad, bringing together yoga athletes from over 60 countries. PM Modi extends best wishes. SpaceX announces launch of its IPO, aims to raise record amount of $75 billion in the public offering that would value the company at $1.75 trillion. Investor show starts Thursday. Venezuelan acting President Delcy Rodriguez arrived in New Delhi on Wednesday on a 5-day working visit. Today, she will hold bilateral discussions with Prime Minister Narendra Modi and External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. The discussions would involve the full spectrum of India-Venezuela relations and explore avenues for further cooperation in areas of energy security, trade and investment, pharmaceuticals, healthcare, transportation and renewable energy as well. Besides, the Venezuelan delegation will visit several sites connected with energy, pharmaceuticals and auto sectors to gain insights into India's technological and industrial capabilities and to explore opportunities for collaboration. Indian PSUs have made significant investment in Venezuela in the energy sector and they are keen to explore opportunities for further enhancing their presence. India and Venezuela enjoy warm and friendly relations underpinned by cooperation in the energy sector, trade and shared commitment to the global south. And in India's Akhilesh Suman joins us for more on this. Hi Akhilesh, a very good morning to you. Indeed, this is a very significant visit by Delcy Rodriguez and she'll be meeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi and External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar today. What does her itinerary look like?
That acting president of Venezuela, she has already arrived in New Delhi yesterday evening. And today she is going to meet External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. Mr. Jaishankar will go to visit her around 9:45 in the morning. And around 11:30, both Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Venezuelan acting president will come to Hyderabad House for bilateral and bilateral talks. They will have restricted talks and also they will have delegation level talks. So I think lots of issues are going to be discussed in that meeting because India and Venezuela have been having very cordial and very good relationships in the past, but because of sanctions by the US, the relationships were not transactional in that way that export-import relations were almost stopped between the two nations. But now when Venezuela has opened up, now sanctions are lifted from Venezuela. India and Venezuela are trying to get and trying to find out new avenues of cooperation. So that meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to be very important. And in the evening around 3:45, she will go to Rajghat to give a respect to Mahatma Gandhi. So that will be a wreath laying ceremony there. So I think that is the itinerary for today. She is also expected to visit Mumbai to meet business communities of India. So this is the thing, and on 5th she is going back. So her visit is quite important, Siddharth, in a way that the type of energy situation is existing in the world, the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, the situation in West Asia. So these are all important issues on which India is also affected. And in that way, Venezuela can be of good support for us as far as energy security is concerned.
Okay.
So I think that is going to be one of the major issues of discussion. Other than that, there are avenues of cooperation in many areas, like in renewable energy, like in agriculture, like in MSMEs, like in other sectors of development cooperation. Because Venezuela needs a certain level of expertise in various fields, because the country was almost closed because of sanctions for a long time.
Yeah.
And now once it is opening up, I think that it needs lots of support from countries like India.
Definitely. Akhilesh, energy, we can say that forms the bedrock of the relationship between both nations. And you've also told about that there are lots and lots of things that go beyond just the energy. Akhilesh, I want to ask you that what benefit will both the countries get, with this visit by Venezuela's acting president? Because a lot of things which both the countries require, Venezuela having one of the largest crude reserves in the entire world, and India is right now diversifying its energy basket with the current geopolitical scenario that is there in front of us.
Right, you're right, Siddharth, because that India and Venezuela both need cooperation of each other. These are all complementary economies. We export what Venezuela doesn't have. We import what India doesn't have, or it has in scarcity. So I think that type of relationship becomes quite complementary to each other. Economies are very important in these days. After Donald Trump came to be the president of USA for the second time, the relationship are being calibrated all over the world. Every country is trying to find out new allies, reliable allies, and long-term allies, partners, development associates. So in that way, I think India can be very helpful for Venezuela's overall development, because India, a diverse country, largest population of the world, different terrains in the world, that can be very helpful for Venezuela. And the Venezuelan acting president is quite, aware about India's capabilities. He has come to India many times in the past in different capacities of as minister of the Venezuela, so under the erstwhile earlier, president. So I think that can be a win-win situation for both the countries. India needs a certain expertise from Venezuela, like that in terms of oil and gas, that is very important for India indeed. But Venezuela needs Indian expertise in exploration and also refining, because Venezuela's crude are considered to be a bit difficult crude, and India has the capacity and capability to refine those crude.
You're right.
So India can also establish a refineries there in Venezuela, and it can be a good thing for us. Our revenues and our companies will go there and establish refineries there. So that will be a win-win situation for both the countries. And when countries come together, they think about how one country will get and how the other country will get. So it is not zero-sum game. It is a win-win situation for both the countries.
Definitely, Akhilesh. This is a win-win situation for both the countries, like you've just said, and this is the sixth visit by Venezuela's acting president, which will provide impetus, certainly, to the relationship between both nations. You are thoroughly covering the Venezuela's acting president's visit. We'll keep taking updates from you on this, but as of now, Akhilesh, we leave it there. Thank you so much for your analysis. British Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper will meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi and External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar today. Together with Dr. Jaishankar, the Foreign Secretary will undertake a formal review of delivery under the UK-India Vision 2035 to date. Discussions are also expected on closer collaboration between two sides to minimize economic shocks from ongoing conflicts, preserve global stability and ensure freedom of navigation. The Foreign Secretary's trip sets an ambitious path for engagement with India, a top priority partner for the UK. It builds on the visit by Business and Trade Secretary Peter Kyle earlier this week to bring the landmark UK-India Free Trade Agreement into force as soon as possible. Over the last 12 years, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's governance has significantly reshaped India's developmental trajectory, with a major focus on welfare-driven governance and efficient transparency mechanisms. As the Modi government completes 12 years in governance, empowering the poor has been key objective. Various policy interventions have helped lift 25 crore people out of multi-dimensional poverty. Next report gets you more.
पहले हम लोग चूल्हा में खाना बनाते थे, अब उज्ज्वला योजना से हम लोग को गैस मिला, उसमें खाना बनाते हैं, अब बहुत अच्छा है।
मैंने कुछ वर्ष पहले कार्य स्टार्ट किया था। उस कार्य के अंतर्गत मेरे को थोड़ी सी पूंजी की आवश्यकता थी। उस पूंजी की आवश्यकता के मद्देनजर मैंने प्रधानमंत्री मुद्रा योजना का लोन लिया था। उस योजना के अंतर्गत मेरे को काफ़ी फायदा हुआ। आज की डेट में मेरा अच्छा खासा व्यापार बन रहा है और साथ में मेरे अंडर के अंदर कुछ 2-4 लड़के काम भी करते हैं।
और पहले पानी का नहीं था यहाँ व्यवस्था, लेकिन 3 साल से हम लोग का नल जला गया घर में।
These are few of the many voices of hope and aspiration from the marginalized sections of Indian society. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government has completed 12 years in power. Poverty alleviation through inclusion and empowerment has been a key priority for the centre. The story of empowerment begins with the JAM Trinity, or foundational convergence of Jan Dhan Yojana, Aadhaar and mobile connectivity. This architecture acts as the bedrock of India's digital public infrastructure, driving financial inclusion and powering the direct benefit transfer or DBT system. Over 57 crore Jan Dhan accounts with a deposit balance of over rupees 2.9 lakh crores have been opened till date. The Swachh Bharat Mission is a mega national cleanliness campaign to eliminate open defecation and improve solid waste management. Over its decade-long implementation, it has successfully constructed over 12 crore toilets in villages. Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana provides free LPG connections to women from poor households, replacing traditional fuels like firewood and cow dung with clean cooking energy. Over 10.55 crore LPG connections have been released so far. PM Awas Yojana Urban and Grameen was introduced with the aim to provide all-weather Pakka houses with basic civic amenities to all eligible urban and rural beneficiaries across the country. 97.3 lakh houses have been delivered to beneficiaries in urban areas. 4.15 crore houses have been allocated to beneficiaries in rural areas. Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana is strengthening India's grassroots entrepreneurs. The initiative has been designed to bridge the gap in financial accessibility, offering streamlined, easy collateral-free loans up to rupees 20 lakh to support small-scale business ventures for non-corporate and non-farm income-generating activities. PM Swanidhi scheme facilitates collateral-free working capital loan, financial inclusion and livelihood support to street vendors. Jal Jeevan Mission Har Ghar Jal seeks to ensure regular supply of clean water through tap water connection. Today, around 81.89% rural households have tap water supply in their homes. The Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, India's flagship food security and welfare scheme, launched as a pandemic relief measure, it has been significantly expanded and currently provides free food grains to over 80 crore eligible beneficiaries across the country. Pro-poor schemes by the Modi government in the past 12 years has been instrumental in lifting 25 crore people out of multidimensional poverty. These programs continue to empower people from the marginalized sections of society to become equal stakeholders in India's development journey.
India's disaster preparedness agenda took center stage as the National Disaster Management Authority hosted the BRICS 2026 Disaster Risk Reduction Group meeting in Puri on Wednesday. The deliberations in the three-day meeting focused on disaster mitigation strategies across the 11-member bloc. Opening day session on early warning systems focused on strengthening multi-hazard forecasting mechanisms, enhancing risk intelligence and developing a BRICS-wide knowledge-sharing framework with particular emphasis on flood risk management. Another key discussion centered on policy frameworks for planning and developing climate-resilient, inclusive and sustainable urban infrastructure across BRICS nations. The delegates are also scheduled to visit Konark Sun Temple, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, on Thursday. And still to come on DD India News Hour. US President Trump confirms calling Netanyahu crazy, says they still get along. European Union to move Ukraine accession bid forward as Hungary drops veto. Cuba to suspend Visa and MasterCard transactions as US sanctions disrupts financial services. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. The US House of Representatives has passed a resolution to block President Donald Trump from continuing the war against Iran. The House voted 215 to 208 as 4 Republicans voted with Democrats in favor of the war powers resolution. No Democrats voted against it. 7 House members did not vote. For now, the vote is largely symbolic as legislation must pass the Senate as well as the House to become effective. 3 previous war powers resolutions had failed in the House by increasingly slim margins, and the chamber's Republican leaders abruptly postponed a vote on this one last month when it looked likely to pass. US President Donald Trump said Iran has agreed not to have a nuclear weapon and that he would probably meet with Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei. Trump said that progress in talks with Iran could come within days and that Washington expects to secure Tehran's enriched uranium stockpile under a potential deal. Trump said that if a deal is reached, I quote, "We will get it and we will destroy it," unquote. Trump also said the United States was attempting to keep the Iran negotiations distinct from other regional tensions, including hostilities involving Israel and Hezbollah. He indicated there had been recent contacts aimed at de-escalation.
Strong action for a different reason. So they were reciprocating. Yep.
Mr. President, can you explain why
the negotiation itself has gone very well, actually. Very well.
Mr. President,
It could happen. I mean, if it happens, and it might not happen, who knows? But if it happens, it could happen like over the weekend. But as it stands now, we will go in sometime in the not too distant future. It's very safe down there. We have, with Space Force, we have cameras. Every angle of those 3 sites are being watched at all times. If anybody went there, we'll see exactly what's happening, and we'll blow it up a little bit further.
In a podcast interview, Trump also said that Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah remains actively involved in diplomatic negotiations with the United States and he would like to meet him. Also, Gulf hostilities flared again on Wednesday as Iranian attacks on Kuwait damaged its airport and injured dozens, while the US military carried out strikes near the Strait of Hormuz. Flights at Kuwait International Airport were suspended after Kuwaiti authorities said an Iranian drone and missile attack damaged airport facilities and diplomatic missions, killing 1 person and injuring more than 60 others. Later on Wednesday, Iran's IRGC denied attacking the airport and said the destruction at the airport was caused in error by US Patriot systems after failing to intercept Iranian missiles. Kuwait Airways and Jazeera Airways later resumed flights after taking safety measures. Lebanon and Israel have agreed to the implementation of a ceasefire following negotiations in Washington aimed at ending the conflict. According to a joint statement released with the United States, the ceasefire is contingent on a complete cessation of fire from Hezbollah militia and the evacuation of all its operatives from the South Litani sector. The 2 countries will meet again on 22nd of June to hold further talks with a view toward reaching a comprehensive agreement. Hezbollah has not yet commented publicly on the announcement. Hostilities have continued despite a US-mediated agreement announced on Monday. Israeli drone strikes killed at least 9 people in southern Lebanon and targeted a car just south of Beirut on Wednesday, while Israel said it intercepted a hostile aircraft likely fired by Hezbollah. US President Donald Trump acknowledged calling Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu crazy in an expletive-filled phone exchange over fighting in Lebanon. In an interview broadcast on Wednesday, Trump was asked whether he had called the longtime Israeli leader crazy and accused him of ingratitude. Trump went on to say he and Netanyahu get along very well.
I wouldn't say angry. I was a little bit perturbed at his constantly fighting with Lebanon. At some point I said, we got to stop this. We got to stop it. But I have a very good relationship. We've done well together. He always says we could never have done it, but everybody knows that we could have never done it without the United States. But I've worked very well together. I like Bibi a lot.
The EU on Wednesday agreed to move Ukraine and Moldova to the next stage in their membership bids as Hungary signaled it was dropping its long-standing veto against Kiev. A breakthrough came earlier on Wednesday when Hungary's new Prime Minister Magyar announced a historic agreement had been reached with Ukraine on the rights of its Hungarian ethnic minority. He also said the country would hold a referendum on Ukraine's membership should it succeed in closing all 33 accession chapters within the next 10 to 15 years. Cyprus, which holds the rotating presidency, said in a social media post that it marks a significant milestone in their European integration path and sends a strong message of EU unity and determination. The European Union formally opened entry negotiations with Ukraine back in June 2024, kickstarting a complicated undertaking that usually takes years and involves negotiations on anything from agriculture to the rule of law. Meanwhile, the Russia-Ukraine conflict has intensified further, with Ukrainian drones striking an oil terminal in St. Petersburg and a warship at a nearby naval base. The developments come as Russia prepares for the St. Petersburg Economic Forum. Meanwhile, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte is on an unannounced visit to Ukraine, whose President Volodymyr Zelensky has described the overnight strikes on St. Petersburg as a fair response to Russian attacks and warned of further retaliation. Nitesh Kumar has more.
Ukrainian drones struck an oil terminal in St. Petersburg and targeted a warship in dry dock at a naval facility near Kronstadt, Russia, on Wednesday. The strikes took place just hours before the opening of the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, one of Russia's key annual economic events. Meanwhile, Russia accused Ukraine of carrying out a drone attack on a passenger bus in the Russian-controlled Donetsk region. Regional authorities said the drone struck the bus while it was picking up passengers in Yenakievo. According to Russian officials, 8 civilians were killed and 11 others were injured in the attack. Moscow described the incident as an act of aggression and launched an investigation. Also, Russia said its air defenses had downed 754 Ukrainian drones in the past 24 hours. And the Kremlin said it would continue its response following the latest Ukrainian drone attacks.
I would like to remind you of the statement from Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which said that our responses will be systematic in nature, and indeed they already are. That's the first point. As for the strikes specifically, information about them is entirely the prerogative of regional authorities and Ministry of Defense. But generally speaking, I can say that the special military operation is ongoing so that such strikes don't occur in the future.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed that drones had struck a fuel terminal and a military facility in Kronstadt, where elements of Russia's Baltic Fleet and major shipbuilding and repair facilities are located. Authorities in St. Petersburg said drone strikes damaged infrastructure in several districts of the city. The latest developments come a day after Russia launched a large-scale missile and drone attack on Ukraine. Ukrainian authorities said hundreds of drones and dozens of missiles were fired during the attack, causing casualties and damage in several areas.
It was a brutal strike, more than 70 missiles, many ballistics, more than 650 drones in a single night. During the day, the Russians continued their attacks with about 100 more drones. There were hits recorded. 130 were wounded. Sadly, 22 people were killed, including 2 children.
Amid the continuing conflict, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte paid an unannounced visit to Kiev. Rutte joined President Zelensky and representatives of NATO member states in honoring fallen Ukrainian soldiers at the Wall of Remembrance. The visit came as both Russia and Ukraine reported fresh attacks and as military activity intensified on both sides. Nitesh Kumar reports for DD India.
Austria, Kyrgyzstan, Portugal, Trinidad and Tobago and Zimbabwe were elected on Wednesday to serve as non-permanent members of the United Nations Security Council for 2-year terms beginning January 1, 2027. Countries welcomed their elections and pledged to promote the rule of law, civilian protection and action on emerging challenges such as technology and climate change. Portugal celebrated securing the highest number of votes and vowed to strengthen multilateral cooperation. Kyrgyzstan hailed its first ever Security Council seat, while Trinidad and Tobago outlined priorities including peace, security, women's rights and artificial intelligence. Germany narrowly missed election and expressed disappointment. Thousands of workers took to the streets of Lisbon on Wednesday in a nationwide strike to protest the government's proposed labour reforms. The action marked Portugal's second general strike in 6 months, causing major disruptions, including suspended train services, hundreds of flight cancellations and school closures. The centre-right government plans to amend more than 100 provisions of the Labour Code to improve productivity and stimulate economic growth after negotiations with unions failed. Top US General Dan Kane visited Venezuela on Wednesday and met with leaders of the interim government. Kane reaffirmed Washington's commitment to stability and security in the Western Hemisphere. During the visit, Kane stressed support for implementing the US plan for Venezuela and strengthening cooperation between the two nations. Cuba will suspend Visa and MasterCard transactions starting Saturday, its central bank said on Wednesday, citing sanctions imposed by the United States that in recent days have led a swathe of foreign businesses to sever ties with the Caribbean island. Cuba's central bank said a foreign partner that had previously processed credit card transactions for Cuba had decided to limit operations following a US executive order on 1st of May that vastly broadened sanctions on commerce with Cuba. Bangladesh's measles outbreak continues to intensify, with the death toll from confirmed and suspected cases rising to 601, according to the Bangladesh's Directorate General of Health Services. By 3rd of June, 7 more children died, all classified as suspected measles deaths. This brings suspected deaths to 511, while confirmed measles deaths remain at 90. During the same period, 1,210 new suspected cases and 55 confirmed infections were recorded. The outbreak is being described by health experts as one of Bangladesh's most severe public health crises in recent years, driven by gaps in vaccination coverage and delays in immunization efforts. Let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Climate change is disrupting honey production in South Korea. Rising temperatures are causing flowers to bloom earlier and for shorter periods, reducing nectar availability for bees. Strong winds, pests, and diseases are further damaging bee populations. As a result, honey yields have dropped sharply, raising concerns for farmers and crop pollination. The United Nations has warned of worsening hunger in Yemen. Millions are already facing acute food insecurity, with conditions expected to deteriorate in the coming months. Aid agencies cite conflict, economic instability, and funding shortages as key drivers. Urgent international support is being sought to prevent a deeper humanitarian crisis. Thousands of Buddhist devotees gathered at Borobudur temple in Indonesia to celebrate Vesak Day. A total of 2,570 lanterns were released into the night sky, symbolizing prayers, hope and enlightenment. The ceremony marked the conclusion of Vesak celebrations. The event reflects themes of peace, spiritual freedom and renewal. Efforts are underway in Vietnam to preserve traditional hand embroidery. The centuries-old craft is facing challenges due to limited documentation and changing times. Cultural initiatives are promoting the art form and its historical significance. And still to come on DD India News Hour. In Delhi hotel fire tragedy, hotel owner detained, magisterial inquiry ordered. Stay with us to know more on this. And southern state of Kerala braces for monsoon arrival.
Welcome to Jaipur.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Lao PDR, Tong Savan Pombihan, is on his first official visit to India. He called on President Draupadi Murmu. The Lao leader will attend an India-Lao business forum which will aim to strengthen trade and investment ties between the two countries. India and Lao PDR are celebrating 70 years of diplomatic relations. The visit is expected to add momentum to the long-standing partnership and further deepen bilateral cooperation. India's foreign minister, in fact, the External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on Wednesday co-chaired the 10th India-Lao PDR Joint Commission meeting alongside Lao Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Thongsavan Phombihan. The two sides held detailed discussions on strengthening bilateral ties across key sectors, including trade and investment, health, energy, digital cooperation, connectivity, development partnership, capacity building and culture. They also exchanged views on expanding India-ASEAN cooperation and regional developments. Marking 70 years of diplomatic relations, both sides noted the growing depth of engagement with agreements signed on pharmacopoeia, cultural exchange and defense training to further advance the partnership.
Countries have close civilizational ties reflected in the common heritage of Buddhism and Ramayana. Our relations go back in history based on deep cultural and people-to-people linkages. I fondly remember my own visit to your beautiful country during your ASEAN chairship in 2024. And I also had at that time an opportunity to call on Prime Minister during my visit. Excellency, our own Prime Minister visited Lao PDR in October 2024. On that occasion, a number of agreements and MOUs were signed. And today we have an opportunity to review them.
Vice President C.P. Radhakrishnan on Wednesday released a book titled When Audit Matters, CAG Interventions That Made a Difference. The Vice President described the book as a vital instrument for strengthening democracy. He observed that audit not only helps governments improve systems and correct deficiencies, but also reinforces trust between the state and citizens. The book is edited by a former Controller and Auditor General of India.
So this audit is a vital instrument for strengthening the democracy. And the audit, most importantly, it reinforces the trust between the state and the citizen. That is the success story of the audit.
Delhi police has registered an FIR under charges of culpable homicide against the owner of the property in connection with the fire that broke out in Malviya Nagar. Hotel owner Lavkesh Bajaj has been detained hours after police said he was absconding. A magisterial inquiry has also been ordered. A massive fire broke out at the bed and breakfast in a 5-story building in the South Delhi locality early Wednesday, killing at least 21 people and injuring several others. At least 18 foreign nationals were among the 21 people who died in the deadly fire. Meanwhile, the rescue operation launched after the fire in Malviya Nagar has been completed and the blaze has been fully extinguished. The southwest monsoon is set to arrive in Kerala around 4th of June, bringing very heavy rainfall and orange alerts for several districts. Meanwhile, Delhi NCR will experience light rain, thunderstorms and gusty winds through 5th of June, offering relief from the summer heat.
The weather in Delhi is finally turning the page after weeks of scorching summer heat. A fresh western disturbance hovering over North Pakistan and adjoining areas is set to bring clouds, rain and cooler winds across large parts of North India, offering welcome relief.
At present, a western disturbance lies over North Pakistan and adjoining area. Under its influence, we are expecting light moderate rainfall over western Himalaya regions as well as plains of northwest India also for the coming days, specifically for we can say next 3-4 days.
The IMD has also issued a yellow alert for Delhi NCR, warning of strong winds and thunderstorm development during the afternoon and evening hours over the next couple of days.
For NCR Delhi also we are expecting there may be the thundery development towards afternoon, evening, and tomorrow and day after tomorrow, mean on 4th and 5th, we are also expecting the light rainfall along with the winds 40 to 50 km per hour for NCR Delhi. For that we have given yellow alerts.
The monsoon is set to arrive in Kerala soon, and several states in the southern peninsula may witness intense rainfall in the coming days.
If you talk about the another part of country, for the south peninsular India, we are expecting heavy or very heavy rainfall, likely over Kerala, Tamil Nadu, south interior Karnataka during next 5-6 days.
Weather officials have advised people to track forecasts and follow local advisories.
All right, indeed, India's Vivek Narayanan joins us live from Thiruvananthapuram. Hi Vivek, a very good morning to you. What can you tell us about the monsoon there, Vivek? What is the weather department saying? I am seeing you are holding an umbrella already. Is it raining there? What is the weather like?
Good morning, Siddharth, and good morning to all the viewers of Doordarshan. Yes, as you said, it's heavily raining out here in Thiruvananthapuram, which is the southern tip of the country. And today the Met Department has predicted, but the southwest monsoon will officially hit the coast of Kerala by today. A clear clarification on this will be coming by around 11:30. That's when the weather stations will be watched closely by the IMD officials, and after which they will declare the onset of monsoon. Remember, for the next 2 weeks, Siddharth, it's going to be heavily raining as far as Kerala is concerned. Okay. And the coast is going to be extremely fury. As you can see behind me, the coast, it's already, the waves are very high. The tides are very high, and the fishermen who are staying near the coast have been advised, not to venture into the sea and not to actually go close to the sea, basically because the tides will be very high. But this time around, one thing which is very important to note is that the El Nino effect is going to have an impact on the southwest monsoon, due to which the weather officials say that the monsoon could actually, the strength of the monsoon could decrease towards the end of June, and by July it will be a very normal monsoon. This time the monsoon is actually expected to be below the normal, somewhat 10% less than the normal. But the weather department also says that there are very good chances of flash floods and landslides that could actually occur in various parts of Kerala, because if you look at the nature of the rainfall in the last few years, it's been a very distinct kind of rainfall, where you have the precipitation level which is very high, but for a very short span of time. It's not a very uniform rainfall, which usually Kerala used to get from the month of June to September mid. It used to be, a very uniform rainfall earlier, but in the last 5 years, the pattern has completely changed, and the state has been witnessing a very, unusual kind of rainfall, where the precipitation level is extremely high, and this is precisely the reason why there are instances of flash floods and flooding that's been reported in the state for the last few years. And this time also, the weather department is anticipating that such a phenomenon could occur, and that's the reason why they have given, issued warnings to people living, in the low-lying areas, especially in the coastal areas, and also people who are living in places like Idukki, Wayanad, Pathanamthitta, Kottayam. Now, these are all hilly areas where there are a number of places which are landslide prone, and also which, where landslides could occur, like what you saw 2 years back in Wayanad, where a major landslide that took around 400 lives. So that kind of instances can happen, and that's precisely the reason why the Met Department is issuing warnings and messages every 2 days. Now, by today, by around 11:30, you get a clear picture exactly whether the monsoon will hit today. But what we understand from our sources is that from today onwards, the southwest monsoon is all set to hit the coast of Kerala, and once it starts, it slowly progresses towards Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and towards the western areas, and then the rainfall begins in central India and North India. Now, this is a phenomenon that's been happening for a very long time, but this time around, the monsoon has been delayed at least for a week, and the summer rains has been phenomenally very high, especially in Kerala. That's towards the month of May and June. The summer rains has been very high, but the southwest monsoon, as I am standing right now, that I can feel that the monsoon has really hit. And the intensity of the rainfall is also very high, as you can see behind me.
Yeah.
It's still raining, and it's been raining for the last 18 hours in Trivandrum, and it's expected to continue in the next few hours, in the state.
Vivek.
And the people living in the coastal areas, especially the people living in the coastal areas, has to be very careful.
Definitely, Vivek. It's certainly heavily raining there. Even the camera screen is telling us that. You also take care of yourself, Vivek. We'll keep taking updates from you on this. Thank you so much. As of now, we leave it there. And we're heading for a short break. You stay tuned to DD India. Don't go anywhere.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran? The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you. You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DD India.
You're watching DD India News. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj, and Space Exploration Technologies Corp, known as SpaceX, officially announced the launch of its IPO involving 555.56 million Class A shares priced at $135 each. Elon Musk is projected to retain significant control with 82.4% voting power post-IPO. The IPO shares are priced at $135 each, a move that reflects the company's confidence in its market position and growth potential. This public offering marks a significant milestone for SpaceX as it opens its doors to public investment. Musk, the company's founder and CEO, will maintain substantial control over the company, holding approximately 82.4% of the voting power even after the IPO. This strategic decision ensures Musk's continued influence over SpaceX's direction and operations. Well, let's take a look at the ranking of the 10 largest IPOs on record in terms of funds raised, figures that SpaceX likely will exceed by a massive margin. Saudi Aramco, the Saudi oil giant, raised $25.6 billion on the Riyadh Stock Exchange in December 2019. Alibaba, at $21.8 billion, the Chinese e-commerce giant, made its debut on the New York Stock Exchange in September 2014. SoftBank Corp, $21.3 billion on the Tokyo Stock Exchange in December 2018. AG Bank, $19.2 billion. Chinese lender Agricultural Bank of China, listed on the Shanghai and Hong Kong stock exchanges in July 2010. ICBC, $19.1 billion, another Chinese bank. Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, and also opted for Hong Kong and Shanghai in October 2006. NTT Mobile, $18.1 billion. The Japanese mobile operator was listed on the Tokyo Stock Exchange back in October 1998. And Visa Inc., $17.9 billion. The American credit card network made its New York Stock Exchange debut in March 2008. AIA Group, $17.8 billion. This Asian subsidiary of American insurer AIG arrived on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange in October 2010. Enel, $16.5 billion. The Italian energy giant, whose shares trade in Milan and New York, made its stock market debut in November 1999. Facebook, now Meta, $16 billion in New York in May 2012. You're watching DD News Hour. Time now for some sports news. The World Yogasana Sports Championship 2026 is set to open from today in Ahmedabad, signaling a significant leap in the global acknowledgement of yoga as a competitive sport. With more than 400 athletes from over 60 countries participating, the championship is a milestone towards establishing Yogasana with the Olympic sporting framework. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will attend the event virtually today. The inaugural edition of this event will witness athletes from across the world, including the USA, Ghana, Kenya, Malaysia, Sri Lanka and Uzbekistan, among others, converge in Ahmedabad for the historic inaugural championship. Host India will field a 122-member contingent with athletes competing across 6 age categories. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has extended best wishes to all those taking part in the championship. In a social media post, he said, and I quote, "Yoga is gaining tremendous popularity across the world. On 4th of June, a very special competition, the first World Yogasana Sports Championship 2026, commences in Ahmedabad. This platform has brought together yoga enthusiasts from around the world. It is a significant milestone on the global sporting roadmap for Yogasana. I will be joining the event via technology as well at around 6:40 p.m. Thursday evening. My compliments to those who have organized such an innovative event and best wishes to all taking part." In the Indonesia Open, two-time Olympic medalist PV Sindhu will face world number 1 Ahn Se-young in the pre-quarterfinals. Sindhu defeated Thailand's Busanan in the first round to reach the last 16. She'll now face a tough challenge from current world number 1. In the men's singles, young Indian player Ayush Shetty is in excellent form. He caused a major upset by defeating China's Wang Hongyang in the first round. He'll now face Hong Kong's Lee Cheuk Yu in the pre-quarterfinals. Meanwhile, in the men's doubles, the Indian pair of Arjun and Hariharan will take on the Malaysian pair. England and New Zealand will today lock horns in the first test of the 3-match series at the iconic Lord's Cricket Ground. This will be followed by the second test at the Oval from June 17, and the third and final one will be played at Trent Bridge from June 25th. This will be England's first test assignment after the humiliating 4-1 loss to Australia in the 2025-26 Ashes, while the Kiwis are coming off a thumping innings and a 79-run victory over Ireland. While England have retained the leadership duo of Stokes and McCullum after the Ashes loss, they have made some significant changes in their test squad for the home series against New Zealand. Meanwhile, England cricket captain Ben Stokes leapt to the defence of Jofra Archer, insisting the fast bowler is committed to the national team despite his absence for the start of the test series against New Zealand. Archer will miss the first test at Lord's starting Thursday because he's been playing in the Indian Premier League with Rajasthan Royals, who reached the playoffs and went beaten, and in fact they were beaten by Gujarat Titans last week. National record holder in men's 100-meter Gurinder Veer Singh will lead a 29-member strong Indian contingent at the second Asian Relays Championship to be held in the Chinese city of Shangyu on June 20 and 21 as well. The Indian contingent and selected by the Athletics Federation of India will compete in all 6 relay events in China, says AFI President. The third edition of the Asian Relays Championships will be held in Chandigarh. The continental competition was recently allotted to India at the Asian Athletics Association Council meeting held in Hong Kong. Updates from French Open now. In men's singles, Italy's Flavio Cobolli started slowly in wild and windy conditions before blowing away Canadian 4th seed Felix Auger-Aliassime 4-6, 6-4, 6-4 on Wednesday to make the semi-final at Roland Garros for the first time. Cobolli next meets Matteo Arnaldi, who advanced after his opponent and fellow Italian Matteo Berrettini retired injured while trailing 7-5, 5-2. And in women's singles, Poland tennis star Maja Swiatek has continued her dream run in the prestigious French Open as the world number 114 has beaten number 22 seed Anna Kalinskaya 7-6, 6-3 on Wednesday to reach her first Grand Slam semi-final. She'll face 25 seed Diana in the semi-final today to book a place in the final for the first time. She became only the second qualifier after Nadia Podoroska in 2020 to reach the women's singles semi-finals at the Roland Garros. She is the only sixth qualifier in the Open era to achieve that across the sport's 4 Grand Slam tournaments. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.